Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am back with another testing video, and as you can probably tell from the title and also from the lack of eyebrows, today I'm going to be testing out 4 different eyebrow products from Lidl. The products I'm testing are Lidl's version of a few different Benefit eyebrow products, so I'm going to put them to the test and see if they're any good. The 4 different products I'm testing are the brush and pen, the powder and wax, the eyebrow gel, and the highlighter. I did also want to try their brow pomade because that is what I use on my brows usually. I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills one, but they only had one in the store that I went to, plus it was opened, used, and the brush was missing, so I wasn't going to touch that. So instead, I'm just going to test out these 4. Okay, before I get into the main part of this video, I actually tried to film this yesterday, and let's just say, well, disaster struck. I will insert a clip of what happened into this video so you can see, but basically I was testing out the brush and pen. It was literally the first thing I tested. I decided to swatch the colour on the back of my hand to show you what it was like, and as soon as I swatched it, well, I'll just show you what happened. I'm gonna swatch this on my hand first just to see the colour. Oh my god. Well, that's an instant fail. Okay, brilliant. Love it. So yeah, it snapped as soon as I did the swatch, which wasn't the best of starts, but I thought, okay, fine, no problem, I'll just carry on. But then this happened. Something's just gone in my eye. Oh my god, something's just gone in my eye. Ow, what the hell? I just felt something go in my eye. I think something's gone under the lid. Oh my god, something has gone in my eye and I'm freaking out. For more detail of what happened there, basically I'd applied this product to this eyebrow and I was just tidying it up with some concealer, and as I was in the middle of doing that, all of a sudden something went into my eye and I couldn't get it out for probably about 3+ hours, and I was this close to having to go to A&E because it was just stuck in my eye. So I wasn't able to continue filming yesterday. My eye was really red. I wiped off all my makeup to try and get this thing out of my eye, and it was just an absolute nightmare. I'm not 100% sure if this is what caused it, but because after I did the swatch and it snapped, it left the remaining part a little bit flaky and crumbly, and there were little tiny bits of this product in my eyebrow, and I think possibly when I was doing the concealer it might have knocked one of the little flaky bits into my eye, but it was literally up here in my eyelid and I could not get it out. Like I say, I'm not sure if this is what caused it, so I'm a little bit anxious to try this again, but because I wasn't able to film it properly yesterday, I am going to try it again. I'm going to try and be a little bit more careful with this one today, just in case this is what caused the problem, but fingers crossed it will be fine today. So let's get into the video then. I thought the best way to try this would be to use the brush and pen on one eyebrow, the powder and wax on the other, set both brows using the gel, and then use the highlighter to complete the look. All of these products are from Lidl and it's from their Brow Perfect range, which is basically a dupe for a few different Benefit eyebrow products. I'm going to start with this one, which is the brush and pen. This cost me £1.49 and it's a dupe of the Precisely My Brow eyebrow pencil, which costs £22.50, so it's quite a big difference in price. So with this one I'm going to use light short strokes and then use the brush to blend it afterwards. So like I said, I did try this one yesterday, so it has already been used. I'm going to start with this eyebrow and I'm going to apply it carefully. As I did use it yesterday, I can kind of give you a bit of my first impression now whilst I'm doing this. I found it very difficult to apply and it kind of went on feeling kind of waxy and like a crayon. Now I've never tried the Precisely My Brow by Benefit, so I don't know if it's a similar consistency or if that's what it's meant to be like, but from that initial application yesterday I really didn't like it, so I'm going to see if it's any easier today. I found it quite difficult to get the shape right yesterday, so I'm trying to do it a little bit lighter today because maybe that was why it was difficult, but it literally feels like I'm just drawing over my eyebrow with a crayon and the hairs kind of feel a bit stuck down. I don't know if that's what it's meant to be like, but that's what it's doing and I'm not a big fan of that. I'm used to using a brow pomade with a brush and I feel like you have a lot more control with that, but with this it kind of is what it is. It's also worth noting that I got all of these products in the lightest shade possible. Now I don't know if they just come in 2 different shades or if they only had 2 shades in the store I went into, but they had natural brown and dark brown, so I got natural brown for everything because although I do like my eyebrows to be darker than my natural hair, I don't want them to be too dark, so I thought I'd play it safe and get the lighter option. I'm trying to do this lightly, but I'm also really scared that something's going to go in my eye again. I'm really not liking the shape at all. It is just... I'm finding it really difficult to get the shape right again. It's just not the right product for me. I'd be really interested to see if I had the same issue with the Benefit one instead of this one, but I'm finding it very heavy almost, and even doing that I can feel like my eyebrow hairs are stuck and I really don't like that feeling. So I think I'm gonna have to try and fix it with concealer, which is what I did yesterday, and it was at that point that it all went wrong. But I'm really struggling to get this shape right and I really don't like it. Like, first impression, I just don't like it. I'd probably give this like forgetting that yesterday ever happened, I'd probably give this maybe a 3 out of 10, and that's purely for the color, I guess. It's all right, but it's a little bit dark for me. And this is the lighter one of the two that were available. So I'd be really interested to see what the darker one's like, because this one is actually quite dark. I think what I'm gonna do next is brush it out with the brush and just see if that helps fix this, because I'm really not liking this at all. I'm also gonna close my eye slightly in case something goes in it again, because I can see tiny little flecks of product in my eyebrow. I don't know how well you can see, but like here in particular, there's a little fleck. I feel like the brush does help a little bit with blending it out and it looks slightly more natural, but the eyebrow hairs are still stuck down and bits of the product are flaking. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit of concealer. This is the Revolution Conceal and Define, and I'm hoping this will help with the shape, because I'm really not liking the shape of the brow at the moment. The brush and pen does feel a bit cheap, especially with the little bits that come off. I'm not sure if the Benefit one is similar in any way. I would hope not, especially for that price, but I'm not really liking this one at all. I'm trying to save it with the concealer, which I shouldn't have to be doing. I should just be helping to define the brow with the concealer. I shouldn't have to be like saving it. Next, I'm going to use the powder and wax on this eyebrow, and this cost me £1.99, and it's a dupe of Benefit's Browsings, which is £27. So again, it's a huge price difference. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. So it looks like this. You've got the wax and the powder and also a little brush with it as well. Now, usually I wouldn't use this. Oh, I just put my nail through that. I wouldn't usually use this type of brush that comes with it because they're very cheap, but I guess for the purpose of this video I'm gonna try it exactly how it is. So I'm gonna use the angled side to apply the wax and then this part to apply the powder. I'm not sure how this is gonna go because it feels very cheap and the bristles feel very hard, but let's just give it a go. Okay, I mean, I feel like I really have to get in there to get any sort of product on this brush. I'm applying this the same way that you would with the Browsings, in a sense of using the wax to sort of define and shape the brow and then filling it with the powder. So let's just see how this works. It's a really funny colour, this one. It looks a bit light compared to this one, considering it's like, I think meant to be the same shade. It's like a really sort of off brown grey sort of colour. It doesn't look great, I'll be honest. This is very difficult to apply and apply it well. Considering this is a wax, it actually doesn't feel that different to this consistency, but this colour is absolutely awful. It is disgusting. I'm really hoping that the powder changes the colour because, I mean, just look at the difference. I guess it doesn't help that I'm using the little cheap brushes that come with it, but I want it to be like a fair test because not everyone would have another brush necessarily to apply this with, so I want to keep it as fair as possible, but look at it. Ugh. Put it this way, I'm just glad I don't have to go out today and see anyone because this is just tragic. I just don't understand this colour. It's like grey. It's like a really washed out brown grey, just nasty colour. But in terms of it being a wax, I feel like this side stuck my eyebrow hairs down more than this side. I think I've got enough on there. I don't want to apply anymore. It looks awful. Let's try and rescue it with some powder then. So I'm going to use this side of the brush now. I can't even. Let's hope that this colour saves it, if anything. I'm going to tap off the excess just in case. God, a lot came off there actually. I haven't used a brush like this since I was like, what, 8 years old? I hate this already. I absolutely hate it. So first impressions for this one then. Awful. In fact, it is worse than the other one that I used. The other one actually isn't too bad in comparison, but look at this mess. It feels weird, it looks weird, the colour is off. It looks like I've never done my eyebrows before and I'm just winging it. Like, this shape is just unbelievable. So adding the powder has done nothing really except make the colour, dare I say it, worse? I mean, I don't think it could get much worse, but it's actually laughable how bad this is. Oh my goodness. So what I'm going to do is the same that I did the other side, and I'm going to apply some concealer and try to salvage this mess of a shape. I would definitely rate this one worse than the other one. It's also really hard to adjust because it's like pushing the colour out with it. I don't know how well you can see, but the colour's like brought down here now and a little bit more there and up here. It's going everywhere. Everywhere other than where I need it to be. It just looks like a mess. I'm sorry. I'm going to give this brush a wash because I feel like there are bits of the powder and stuff stuck on here, and I'm going to try it again with a clean brush. Right, I've washed the brush, so I'm going to apply a bit more concealer and we're going to try again. It's still bringing that colour out, which is so annoying because it's making the skin around my eyebrow look a bit grey, which is not a good look. But my first impression about this one, it's really difficult to apply. The brush was never going to be good, was it? But the brush is really bad. I don't think the result would be that much different if you did use a different brush, to be honest, because the actual product itself is so bad. There is definitely a difference with how this one looks compared to this one. I feel like this one looks a tiny bit more like individual brush strokes, and this one looks more like just solid colour. I just really hate this one. I thought I hated this one, and I still don't really like it, but now I've used this one's not so bad. This one though, awful. It's very hard to get this one looking consistent with this one because usually I would wear the same product, so the consistency remains the same throughout both, but because this one is such a different texture to this one, they have applied slightly differently, and this one is slightly higher than this one, I would say. You know the whole saying about eyebrows should be sisters, not twins? Mate, they're not even in the same family. They just look really bad, really weird. I'm just glad I don't have to go out today and see anyone. I'm just saying. I think that's about as much as I'm gonna get from this brow using the powder and wax. I'm just gonna put this one to the side and never touch it again. Next up, I'm gonna apply the eyebrow gel. This one cost me 99p and it's a dupe of Gimme Brow, which is 22.50. So this one is in the shade Natural Brown, so obviously there will be a bit of a colour to it. I'm not sure how it's gonna affect what I've already got on there, but I mean, it couldn't get much worse, could it? Oh, it's a really weird colour. So this is the brush and the colour. I will swatch it on my hand because why not, really? Let's just see. Oh, it's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Right, let's just get on and apply it. I'm going to put this onto both brows and we will just see how it affects what's already there. Because this one's got a bit of a colour to it, I don't want to go too crazy with it. My initial thoughts is that the brush feels a little bit rough, almost like it would bring off any product underneath, but it's not, so that's good. In terms of this being a brow gel, like I said when I first applied the brush and pen, I felt like it had already stuck my eyebrow hairs down, so I don't know how much use this actually is. It's making the colour a little bit warmer, and that's the only real difference that I'm seeing because the eyebrow hairs were already stuck down pretty much anyway. It would probably work better on its own without any product underneath, but I'm not sure how much colour it would give you on its own because when I swatched it, as you can see, it's not that dark. So in terms of the rating so far then, so I said the brush and pen was a 3 out of 10. I would rate the powder and wax. I don't want to be too harsh, but I've got to be honest, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 because I don't want to give it nothing. I mean, it's pigmented. I'll give it the 1 for that. It's not a nice shade, but it is pigmented, so I'm gonna give that a 1 out of 10. The brow gel, it's kind of difficult to tell what it's like without anything underneath, but it's probably the best out of everything. I'm gonna give this like a 4 out of 10. I'm not crazy about it. I'm gonna have to fix the shape again because it has kind of affected that. If anything, I'm hoping that the colour of this affects the colour of this in a good way because it has warmed up the colour of this side. Surely it can't make this colour worse. That's all I'm gonna say. So let's try. Oh, you can definitely see a difference. So let's see if this makes it any better. It's gone a little bit clumpy. Can you see how clumpy that is? I'm so unimpressed with these products. It makes me look like I'm really bad at doing eyebrows, and I'm usually alright at doing my eyebrows, but this is not giving me much to work with, put it that way. Okay, this is really interesting. It is adding a slightly different colour, which is good because the colour before was so bad, but it is also kind of dragging off the product underneath. Can you see it's kind of got like gaps now? And where there's not gaps, there's clumps. And I can't tell if that's this or if it's the powder and wax. I'm just going to throw it out there that these two products definitely don't work well together. I don't know how much more I can even add to this, to be honest. It just doesn't look good. I'm going to tidy it up with some concealer and then let's see how it looks after that. Alright, I've tried fixing this one as much as I can. To be honest, the more I'm trying to fix it, the worse it's getting because I'm just dragging off more and more products, and when I'm trying to add it back it's just looking even worse than it did to begin with. So this is probably the best I'm gonna get for this side in particular, but there's like a huge bit here that's like taken out when I applied the gel. I'm gonna leave it like that and I'm gonna move on to the highlighter, which is the final product. So this is the highlighter and this cost me 99p, and this is a dupe of the Highbrow Eyebrow Highlighter Pencil, which is £19. So let's see what this one is like. I'm just gonna apply this under my eyebrow on that brow bone just to try and make it look that little bit better. I mean, this is gonna need to be a miracle product to be able to make this look better. I'm gonna swatch this one on my hand as well. You can barely even see it, like it's here. Okay, I mean, I don't know how well this is gonna work, but whatever, let's try it. It's slightly noticeable, but I'm having to use a lot to even try and get any sort of colour. I'm gonna blend it with my, oh, it feels like crayon. It feels weird. It feels a little bit sticky as well. So that is what it looks like. To be honest, I can't even tell, but it's brought off my foundation, so that's good. Let's try it on this side as well. I mean, if you look closely, you can kind of see a difference, but it's not very pigmented, and to be honest, it's just not very good. I don't want to go too crazy with this because it is kind of sticky, but I feel like you need to apply a lot to notice a difference, and even when you can notice a difference, it's not that drastic. And even though it looks, well, it did before my foundation went on it, even though it looks white, it's coming off kind of like pinky. In fact, from this angle on my hand, it is literally like pink. I don't know how well you're able to see that, which is strange because it's white and it's coming off like pink. Let me really, okay. I'm really going for it this time, so you can actually see. Because let's face it, I'm probably not going to keep using this. As it's starting to heat up, it's starting to melt a little bit. But that is what it looks like. It's a very strange consistency, very sticky. I mean, it's not a bad colour, but it is just very different from what I was expecting. So if you think it's going to look white, it's not. So that is now all of the products applied and tested. And what I'm going to do now is leave them on throughout the day. The time is currently 12:03, so I'll come back later on this evening and show you what they look like then. I'm not going to touch them up throughout the day. I'm just going to leave it exactly how it is, and I'm just looking at myself in the viewfinder. They're so uneven. Oh my goodness, I hate them. First impressions, hate it all, to be honest, which is a real shame, but nothing from this range I don't think is any good. So like I say, I'm going to leave this on throughout the day, and I'm going to do a wear test and see how it looks later on this evening. So I will update you guys a little bit later on. The time is now 6:35 p.m, so this makeup has been on for about 6.5 hours, and to be honest, that is long enough. I'm ready to take this off. So as you can see, the eyebrows pretty much haven't changed at all throughout the day, which I guess is good. However, they still look just as bad now as they did beforehand, which isn't a good look. I'll show you again up close so you can see. This one still has the same gap that was there earlier. I didn't try fixing it, I just thought I'd leave it. This one, the shape is still way too thick. I just hate it. I think I prefer the shape of this one, but the colour of this one. And on camera, it doesn't look too bad in terms of colour, but looking at myself in the mirror, it's way too dark for me, and I just wouldn't wear this again. And especially as I bought the lightest colour options available, I feel like this would be way too dark for anyone with lighter hair than me. I'm gonna see if by touching the brow, it makes the product come off at all. To be honest, no, it's actually, there's like a tiny bit that's come off, but not a noticeable amount. There's slightly more that's come off of that one, but overall they have lasted really well, which is good. So my overall and final thoughts then, well, I think I made it pretty clear when I was applying the products that I just didn't like them. I couldn't seem to get on with them. Application was difficult, the colour doesn't really match, and they just felt very cheap. And I know they are cheap, but there are similar products out there that would do a better job at a similar price, so I just wouldn't recommend these at all. This is the first time I've done a testing video where I really haven't liked the product, which is such a shame, and I hate having to give bad reviews, but I do have to be honest, and yeah, this range just wasn't for me. I'll just quickly give you an individual rating because I don't think I did it for all of them. So like I said, the brush and pen, I'll give that a 3 out of 10. The powder and wax, I'm still sticking with 1. I would give the eyebrow gel probably a 4 out of 10. I think that's what I said. And then for the highlighter, I would probably give that maybe a 4 as well. So they are my ratings. I unfortunately wouldn't repurchase any of them, nor would I recommend that you go and buy them. But for me, it was a bit of a disappointment. I know they weren't expensive, so I haven't wasted a lot of money, but even so, I'm still a bit disappointed by them. So thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in another video very soon.